Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Chari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribraja Acharya Ashtotara Sata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanara Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Girdi Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Gangamai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 75th chapter, starting with text 24, and I'm going to read up through 30. So I'm going to read quite a few verses. Sarve janaha sura rucha mani kundala srag. Jana rucha mani kundala srag. Usnisha kanchaka dukula mahargya haraha. Naryascha kundala yugolaka vrinda justa. Vaktra shriya kanaka me kalaya vireju. Sarve jana surarucho manikundala shrag. Usnisha kanchuka dakula mahargya haraha. Naryascha kundala yugalaka vrinda justa. Vaktra shriya kanaka me kalaya vireju. Please chant. Sarve jana surarucha manikundala shrag. Usnisha kanchaka dukula mahargya hara. Naryascha kundala yugalaka vrinda justa. Vaktra shriya kanaka me kalaya vireju. Sarve jana surarucha manikandala shrag. Usnisha kanchuka dukula mahargya haraha. Naryascha Kundala Yugalaka Vrinda Justa. Vaktra Sriya Kanakame Kalaya Virejuhu. Sarve Jana Sura Rucho Mani Kundala Shrag. Snisha Kanchaka Dukul Ahargya Haraha. Sarve, all, Janaha, the men, Sura, like the demigods, Nichaha, whose effulgent complexions, Mani, jeweled, Kundala, with earrings, Shrak, flower garlands, Usnisa, turbans, Kanchuka, jackets, Dukula, silk garments, Mahaargya, very precious, Karaha, and pearl necklaces, Naryaha, the women, Cha, and Kundala, of earrings, Yuga, with pairs, Alaka Vrinda, and locks of hair, Justa, adorned, Vaktra, of whose faces, Shriya, the beauty, Kanaka, gold, Mekalaya, with belts, Vireju, shone brilliantly. Translation. All the men there shone like demigods. They were adorned with jeweled earrings, flower garlands, turbans, waistcoats, silk dhotis, and valuable pearl necklaces. The lovely faces of the women were beautified by their matched earrings and locks of hair, and they all wore golden belts. That was text 24, now 25, 26. Just going to read the translations up through 30. Then the highly cultured priests, the great Vedic authorities who had served as sacrificial witnesses, the specially invited kings, the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, demigods, sages, forefathers, and mystic spirits, and the chief planetary rulers and their followers, all of them, having been worshipped by King Yudhisthira, took his permission and departed, O king, each for his own abode. Text 27. As they all glorified the wonderful Rajasuya Yagna performed by that great saintly king and servant of Lord Hari, they were not satiated, just as an ordinary man is never satiated when drinking nectar. Text 28. At that time, Raja Yudhisthira stopped a number of his friends, immediate family members, and other relatives from departing. Among them, Lord Krishna. Out of love, Yudhisthira could not let them go, for he felt the pain of imminent separation. Text 29. My dear Parikshit, The Supreme Lord remained there for some time to please the king, after first sending Samba and the other Yadu heroes back to Dvarka. Text 30. Thus, King Yudhisthira, the son of Dharma, was at last relieved of his burning ambition, having by the grace of Lord Krishna successfully crossed the vast and formidable ocean of his desires. Purport. The previous chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam clearly explain that King Yudhisthira intensely desired to demonstrate to the world the supremacy of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the blessings received by those who surrender to him. To do this, King Yudhisthira performed the Rajasuya sacrifice, a very difficult task. Srila Prabhupada writes in this connection, quote, "In the material world, everyone has a particular type of desire to be fulfilled, but one is never able to fulfill his desires to his full satisfaction. But King Yudhisthira, because of his unflinching devotion to Krishna, could fulfill all his desires successfully by the performance of the Rajasuya sacrifice. From the description of the Rajasuya Yagna, it appears that such a function is a great ocean of opulent desires. It is not possible for an ordinary man to cross over such an ocean. Nevertheless, by the grace of Lord Krishna, King Yudhisthira was able to cross over it very easily, and thus he became freed from all anxieties." Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So the sacrifice is over. The guests are honored, and they are given fine garments, dressed in fine garments. The priests, kings, and all classes of beings take leave. Everyone leaves praising the sacrifice insatiably, like a man never satiated drinking nectar. Yudhisthira can't bear to let Krishna and his dear ones go, and detains them out of love. And finally, King Yudhisthira was at last relieved of his burning ambition, having, by the grace of Lord Krishna, successfully crossed the vast and formidable ocean of his desires. The ocean of desire cannot be crossed by achievement or getting something, getting more of what you desire. The ocean of desire can only be crossed by grace. So even these big billionaires are not out of desire because they are still trying to feed it fuel. Yudhisthira just became the emperor of the earth, the single highest achievement for a Kshatriya. Verse 30 says that that's not what freed him from his kama, lust, desire. Krishna's grace did. This is the core point. No amount of success extinguishes desire, because desire is not a finish line. Desire is a fire. Only bhakti puts out the fire. Bhagavad Gita 3:39, it has desire described as fire. Kama rupena konteya dushparenana lenacha. Covered by the external enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. Prabhupada writes. Further, in his purport, he says the Manusmriti says, lust can no more be satisfied by sense enjoyment than fire is extinguished by feeding it more fuel. The more you try to satisfy it, the fiercer it burns. Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, 19th chapter, has Yayati speaking. after 1,000 years of enjoying his son's youth. This left him still unsatiated. Na jatu kamukamanam upabogena sangyati havisa Krishna vartmeva bhuya eva bivartate. Lust is never satisfied by enjoyment of the objects of desire. It only increases more and more, like a fire fed with ghee. This is a strong verse of the fire image because it's a first-hand confession from someone who actually tested the theory across a whole millennium of unrestricted enjoyment. Then in Bhagavad Gita 259, we find the part about what puts out the fire. Rasa varjam rasa piyasya param tvistva nivartate. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. This is the mechanism. You can't suppress the fire by willpower or avoidance. It only goes out when replaced by a superior taste, which Prabhupada identifies elsewhere as Krishna consciousness bhakti. But higher taste replacing lower attachments is a principle that ripples throughout nature. It's about levels of purity, for example. Like, for example, purity of musical style is something you would find at a modern spiritual experience. Higher experience of food helps replace lower tastes. In this sometimes upside-down society, we may find that higher tastes can be brought about for less money, as the raw goods of purity are sometimes cheaper than the raw goods of impurity. For example, usually meat eating is more expensive than plant-based diet. A higher taste, that's what we're after. That's what this verse says. We have to replace lower tastes with higher tastes. A higher taste at a musical venue would be, for example, a modern kirtan band or someone who is very dynamic and a great leader of music, leading the kirtan, possibly playing a Western instrument such as a guitar, a Western instrument such as a guitar, strumming and singing. When everyone joins in, members of the public may sense a feeling of transformative experience from the public display of shared joy. Kirtan is a higher state of joy happening during the chanting. This includes, in my opinion, the use of instruments to make the kirtan more like a musical experience, which uplifts the soul. Like I felt at some musical concerts that I went to as a youth. The music moved us, the messages sunk in. At concerts like Bob Marley in the past, and others like him, who had a message and music, they were wildly popular. Bob Marley, of course, applauded marijuana, but I don't think that's a factor in his success so much. His music was genuinely different and appealing on face value, and people were very moved by it, literally moved by it and moved by it figuratively. Since our Yuga Dharma is chanting and dancing with the holy names, we need to pay attention to music and not be just renounced Bengali villagers in the pre-dawn mist. I've been to Mayapur and Navadvip for extended stays, and I know the only coal and kartal edict. Only coal and kartal. It's got its sweetness, for sure. But it's not enough for Western consumption. Here we're used to big speaker systems, microphones, mixers, effects, drums, instruments, bands, vocals, backup vocals. And there's nothing wrong with any of these things. They can all be used in kirtan for Krishna. They are musical objects. They can be offered. The ideal is a musical experience that reads, spiritual music, spiritual message, Hare Krishna, strong dance rhythms, ability for the audience to chant with the leaders in the call and response fashion. This is what I'm saying is a speaks to the world abstract from studying Sri Chaitanya's philosophy and his approach to impediments to his Sankirtan movement. The ideal is that the kirtan can be joyfully performed, made up of a musical style that is understood immediately by the local population as joyful or upbeat, or perhaps deep. Music works in two ways, primarily, major and minor. And our kirtan melodies use both of these. One is upbeat, the other is full of depth, feeling, and raga. But people should be pulled right in. It should feel common to them. Or if it's exotic, it should be attractive to them. It should not be second class. It should be good. So practicing instruments can be a Krishna-conscious activity. Seeing as it is an essential service to the propagation of kirtan. All of this is so that people can have a higher taste, which is the chanting and dancing, if possible. We want them to chant and dance with the holy names. Their music styles being used and included is all in an effort to lure them into the chanting, dancing, and holy names. Kirtan hall experiences are selling out at repeated key venue spots used by the spiritual types of kirtan bands that are playing to such sold-out halls. There are quite a few kirtan band experiences going on at any one time right now. They are selling tickets and are selling out. You can see these successful kirtan experiences on YouTube. Our temple functions have such a lousy experience compared to these other events. It's no wonder we are not getting the numbers of Western attendees. Now I speak there of the material aspect of our kirtans. I, of course, respect that they are fully spiritual. That's why I'm here. To me, this is enough. But I'm speaking about drawing in throngs of Westerners. Like the mantra we say to Prabhupada every day says, he came and spread it in the West. And it's supposed to be in every town and village. To do that, we need to speak to the people in their language of music, which varies from place to place. Our thing, seeing it materially, our thing is not culturally relatable, not current, not actually enlivening, in the sense of a fun musical event. I feel it's time to be interesting and musically relatable now or in the future. That is, if the higher taste is actually to chant and dance with the holy names in a group kirtan setting. As the Yuga Dharma, it calls for local style music, dance rhythms, the ways of achieving that, the ways of achieving those things, with local talent, local instruments, instruments invited, shoes allowed. This can become a style, that is, kirtan bhajan, standing, dancing, chanting the holy names, modern musical experience with all the trimmings. Now, they're doing this. If you haven't seen it on YouTube, then you just haven't seen it on YouTube. But it's there. Numerous leaders of kirtan, they have different names. They're often connected with our movement, either currently or in their beginnings. But they lead kirtan with harmonium, guitar, bass guitar, mridanga drum, maybe some other percussion, some kartals, some backup singers. They lead kirtans. They start slow, they build, they come to a big crescendo where everybody is up, dancing and chanting, and then they calm it down. So they have a nice long kirtan that builds, climaxes, and calms. They charge for these experiences. They're held in halls, churches, big venues. They have thousands of people attending, and all of those people are chanting. And when you see the people, you can recognize, oh, these are spiritualists. You can see the trimmings, the hairstyles, the clothing styles, the tattoo styles. You can see that these are people interested in spiritual things and Eastern things. And they're there by the thousands. And they show up at these venues in the large cities as these kirtan bands tour and make a lot of money and lead really big kirtans. So it is happening. And I think ISKCON needs to get into the business of it, as it is what we propagate. It is Yuga Dharma. To provide an actual fun and absorbing experience. Gateway stuff. Gateway experience. So that they're moved, so that they remember it. This has fans galore already because it is plugged in, it is on, it is hip, it is in fashion, in style, relevant, up to date, therefore welcoming towards youthful musicians and artists. Just picture a modern kirtan that really works. So that's all about experiencing a higher taste. It says that people can only give up lower tastes when they experience a higher taste. We offer a higher taste musical, chanting, dancing experience, but we're not really offering it very strongly yet. I think we need to catch up, catch on, and do it. So now I'm going to move on to the second part of verse 30, which is the verse I finished with. And there the emphasis is this: material success is not the same as freedom from desire. Those are two different things that people constantly confuse. Yudhisthira only got the second because of Krishna's grace, not his crown. That is, he got freedom from desire by Krishna's grace, not from achieving something with his crown or by doing the Rajasuya. It was by Krishna's grace. So I want to focus on the word grace. In Sanskrit, there is not a single fixed word that translates as grace. So in the scriptures, what we find when the word grace is used, several terms. The first one is kripa, compassionate mercy. It's sometimes translated as grace. And prasad, or grace, favor, same root as the food prasadam. That word is used and translated as grace. Then anugraha, favor bestowed, and anukampa, compassion moving one to act. In Gaudiya vocabulary, the compound most often used is haituki kripa, causeless mercy, is usually translated as grace. In English, grace equals an unearned gift of divine favor, given not because the recipient's actions purchased it, but because the giver chooses to give it. The divining feature, per Vaishnava theology, is that it is causeless, ahaituki, not triggered mechanically by good karma or accumulated merit, the way a result follows an action in the karma kanda system. In other words, grace is when Krishna decides to give to us, not because we earned it, but because he's just deciding to give to us. It's mercy. This is actually the whole point of distinguishing bhakti from karma kanda and jnana marg. Under karma, you get exactly what your work entitles you to, a strict accounting system. Grace breaks that logic. Krishna gives beyond what is earned in response to sincerity and surrender rather than merit. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam 1:2-6 describes bhakti itself as ahaituki apratiyata, causeless and uninterrupted. The same two qualifiers apply to the grace that bhakti both expresses and draws down. Ahaituki apratiyata, causeless and uninterrupted. And where this is cited in the scriptures, mat chitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. So that word prasad is in there. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. This verse goes right next to the verse we're studying today, 10:75:30, because it uses the identical crossing over imagery. Tarishyasi, you will cross over, matching samutirya, having crossed, in the Yudhisthira verse. Krishna is telling Arjuna the same thing the narrator later shows happening to Yudhisthira, that by Krishna's mercy, they cross over material desire. This is not something we often talk about, but it is clearly a part of our philosophy, that we are up against the material nature. It is distracting us from spiritual life. Krishna can give you the ability to cross over it. Some devotees have crossed over it by Krishna's grace. That is something we can look forward to by practicing the practices of bhakti, that we will come to the point of receiving that grace, mercy, prasad, that helps us to cross over material desire. Then in Bhagavad Gita 18:62, so near the end, tat prasadat param santim shtanam prapasi sasvatam. By his grace, you will attain supreme peace and the eternal abode. And there again we find the word prasad. His mercy, his offering. We say by his grace. Then in Bhagavad Bhagavad Gita 10:11. Tesham evanu kampartam. Out of compassion for them, I, situated in their hearts, destroy the darkness of ignorance with the shining lamp of knowledge. Here it's anukampa, grace framed as active intervention, not just permission, but Krishna actually acting out of compassion that he has for us, which is a mood we attract by practicing bhakti. We get to the higher stages where we attract Krishna, and he does things. He is active. The actual Sanskrit of the verse we're studying today doesn't contain a grace word at all. The line reads, Krishnena Shidgata Jvara, literally means, by or through Krishna, he becomes free from the fever. It's about time. Does anyone have anything to say? Because we do these things because we're building a relationship with a living, feeling, thinking being. We're not doing them to get a certain amount of credits in an account that will earn us certain new features in our life. We are doing them in relationship to Krishna so that he will relate to us. We want him to relate to us, and he does in the advanced stages. So that's why we're doing all these things. I think it's time. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah? Good. Excellent. Good. Thank you.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Enam Kanvandam Maravindanalayatatam Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniyam Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Andani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Pasyan Vipan Vikayanti Giram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govinda
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhuttaraya Jimate Bhakti Vedanta Samaniti Namine Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Jane Vishesha, Sunyavati, Asaja, Tesa Tarane. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhunichan Nanda Jidwaita Ganada Siva Sati Gauratu Brenda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jidwaita Gaurada Siva Sati Gauratu Brenda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jidwaita Gaurada Siva Sati Gauratu Brenda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Goloka Radhe. Jai Goloka Radhe. Jai Hey Radhe Radhe Radhe. Hey Radhe Radhe Radhe. Shri Radhe. Jai Om Vishnu Pad.
Chaitodarpanam Arjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreyakairavya Chandrikavitaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Bhagripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktya Haitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kribayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam Gadashu Daraya Varanam Gad Gadarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vabukada Tavanamagrahane. Thank you. Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahiname Ashlishava Padamritam Anastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatava Vidadatu Lampato Mat Prananatastusa Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction of living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, one more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh my Lord, when will with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name, when will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.